Single greatest skill that separates broke people from wealthy people ain't intelligence, luck, or even hard work. It's mastering the psychology of money. What if I told you that 6 simple mental shifts could completely transform your relationship with money starting today? Most people think they need more skills or better opportunities to build wealth, but the real problem is happening between their ears. And once you fix that, everything else falls into place. The difference between making money and staying broke ain't about what you know or who you know. It's about the 6 limiting beliefs that are running your financial decisions without you even realizing it. These beliefs got programmed into you before you could even think for yourself. And they're controlling everything from the job you take to how much you charge to whether you feel guilty about spending money. Here's what's fascinating. Research by financial psychologists shows that we all operate from what they call money scripts, subconscious programs that dictate every single financial decision you make. You probably didn't even write these scripts yourself. They came from things you heard as a kid, behaviors you observed, and experiences you had before you understood what money actually was. There are 4 main money scripts, and I want you to think about which one you unconsciously follow. First is the money avoider. These people believe money is bad and they don't deserve it. They sabotage their own success, often work in low-paying, helping professions, and feel guilty about wanting money. This comes from hearing things like rich people are greedy, or money is the root of all evil growing up. Then you got the money worshiper. They believe money's gonna solve all their problems and bring happiness. They chase money obsessively, but never feel like they got enough. They hoard everything and prioritize work over relationships. It's that moving goalpost mentality where they think they need $1 million, then 10 million, then 100 million to finally be happy. The third type is money status. For these people, self-worth equals net worth. They overspend to keep up appearances, hide their finances from their spouses, and feel anxious whenever others are wealthier. You know this as keeping up with the Joneses, always looking at your neighbor's yard, thinking you need a better one. So, research shows this mindset is linked to lower well-being and increased unhappiness because you're constantly comparing yourself to others. The fourth is money vigilant. These are chronic savers who live below their means but got constant anxiety about their financial future. They're secretive about money and never feel secure even when they got plenty saved up. If you identify with money vigilant, here's the scenario. You might got all this jewelry and makeup and hair done, but spend almost nothing compared to how much money you got. Even with substantial net worth, you might not want to spend over a certain amount on a house, so you rent instead of buying. When business profits drop for a couple months, which don't affect your personal life at all, you might still start spending less and cutting expenses. You might tell your team, don't buy that, let's cut our finances. It's a pattern from the past that might not be serving you. So here's what to do when you feel that urge to spend less, go and spend more instead. It's probably a worse behavior, but tell your brain, you're going to listen to me. This is irrational and I ain't going to listen to you. Teach your brain that it's okay because the evidence shows it is. What's happening in your brain ain't got nothing to do with what's actually happening outside. If you want to rewrite your money script, here's what you do. Write down your earliest memory about money. What did your parents say about it? How did they behave with it? Once you see that pattern, you can recognize that those ain't lessons. They're just other people's thoughts that you took on. Then you rewrite the script. Instead of whatever limiting belief you inherited, try something like, money is a tool that lets me create freedom and help more people. When you change your internal script, your external results are going to follow. The second limiting belief is what I call the wealth ceiling. Here's the truth. You're going to sabotage any opportunity that's above how you see yourself. If you see yourself as a $50,000 a year person and someone offers you a $200,000 opportunity, you're going to find a way to mess it up. The amount of money you got is capped by how you see yourself, and research is very clear on this. Your self-concept acts like a thermostat. If you see yourself as someone who makes $100,000 a year, you're going to unconsciously strive to maintain that level, and you ain't going to pursue anything above it. If you make $150,000, you're going to spend that extra $50,000. If you make $80,000, you're going to stress and work until you're back at $100,000. For years, you might have had an identity around being scrappy, surviving, getting by, stuck at a certain income level. Even though you knew logically you could make more, you kept sabotaging yourself. When you started making more money, you'd spend it all on things like competition fees, or you get wound up thinking, what if I mess up? What if I don't make more? That was just regulating your internal temperature. If your identity is, I'm someone who struggles with money, you're going to find ways to keep struggling. But if you change that identity to, I'm someone who creates and manages wealth and can make more money if I choose to, you're going to find a way to live that out. Here's the exercise. Write down, I'm the kind of person who, and fill in how you honestly see yourself with money. Maybe it's, I overspend, or I save too much, or I save nothing. Then draw a line down the middle of your paper, and on the other side, write, I'm the kind of person who builds and manages wealth with ease. You don't need to feel like that person yet. You don't need to act like them just yet. Just write it down, and don't be repulsed by what you see on paper. Then every time you make a money decision, pull up that paper. That's all you need to do right now. The moment your self-image expands from constantly reading, reminding, and writing that new sentence, your income's going to follow. The third limiting belief is thinking you should buy liabilities instead of assets. We're programmed to consume, not to build things, and that's why a lot of people stay broke. Robert Kiyosaki said it perfectly in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The rich buy assets, the middle class buys liabilities thinking they are assets. Here's the simple framework. There are only two categories for everything you spend money on. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. People spend their entire lives buying liabilities and wondering why they can't get ahead. Instead of asking, can I afford this? Ask, will this pay me back? And what's my return on this? Let me give you some examples so you know the difference. Your car is a liability. It loses value immediately, costs you insurance, gas, and maintenance. Your house that you live in is also a liability, which is very controversial, but it's true. You got a mortgage, property tax, insurance, repairs, and it don't generate income. Even that designer handbag is sadly a liability because it loses value over time and don't generate income. Now, here are some assets. A course that teaches you a skill is an asset because it pays you back through increased income. A rental property is an asset because it generates monthly income. Equipment for your business is an asset if it helps you generate more revenue, but it's a liability if you don't use it and it just sits there. Here's something to consider. Money sitting in your bank account is just deteriorating over time. Your money can become a liability if you don't do something with it. When you start filtering all your purchases through, is this an asset or liability? Your wealth can compound. Start investing in things that create money, skills that create money, learning that creates money, and assets for your business that Try this exercise. Look at your last 10 purchases and next to each one, write asset or liability. Be honest with yourself. Then commit to asking before your next purchase, is this a liability or an asset? Does it put money in my pocket eventually, or does it take money out? The fourth limiting belief might be one of the hardest ones to break, and it's called scarcity mindset. Having a scarcity mindset can make you less effective in decision making. You either operate from scarcity or abundance, and as humans, we're supposed to operate from scarcity. But which one you choose to lean towards and train yourself into is going to determine how much money you make. Scarcity brain believes there's never enough. I need to protect what I got. I need more. And if that person got more, it means less for me. Think about what that meant 1,000 years ago. If somebody else had all the resources and you needed them to survive, you'd be trying to get them because there were only a certain number available. Your brain is working the same way, but now you're thinking about something that ain't finite. Money is being made every day. When you perceive resources as scarce that actually ain't, your cognitive bandwidth shrinks. You make worse decisions, you can't plan long-term, and you only focus on immediate value. Scarcity mindset behaviors include hoarding money, not investing money, only thinking short-term because you got to survive, and seeing every opportunity as a threat. Abundance mindset says there's always more to create. I can afford to invest. I can take calculated risks. There are opportunities everywhere. You're seeing the world as an infinite pie rather than a finite one. It can be terrifying to spend money on things that make your life better, make you better, or make your business better because of thoughts like, what if it stops coming? What if something changes? This is especially hard in the early years of business. The shift happens when you realize that money is almost infinite nowadays and it's renewable. Skills, relationships, opportunities, those things compound. The more you invest in yourself, your business, and your life, the more you get back tenfold. You may need to train yourself out of that. Here's a perfect example. When making a substantial monthly income, hiring a coach for a significant portion of that income might seem risky. Scarcity brain would scream, "You're going to go broke. What if it stops tomorrow?" But abundance brain might say, "You've made progress, and this skill is going to help you make even more." You got to ignore that voice and not listen to it. You can have those thoughts, but you don't need to follow their directions. That coach could be the reason you are able to scale a company significantly. The simplest thing you can do is become aware when you make decisions from fear versus from possibility. Instead of asking, "I can't afford this," ask, "How could I afford this?" Instead of, "How do I protect what I got?" ask, "How do I create more of what I got?" When you start asking higher level intelligence questions, you're going to stop sabotaging your finances. The fifth limiting belief is loss aversion. And this is why you keep losing on investments, avoiding risk, and staying stuck. Research by Nobel Prize winners Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky shows that the pain of losing $100 is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining $100. Losing feels twice as bad as winning feels good. This shows up when you hold losing stocks, hoping they're going to recover instead of cutting your losses, stay in dead-end jobs, stay in bad relationships, don't negotiate salaries, and avoid investing because your fear of loss outweighs the potential gain. Some people stay in terrible jobs for longer than they should because they feel like if they end it, they're losing something. The irony is that staying in that job costs way more money, mental energy, mental health, and potentially years off of life. Fear of loss can be bigger than the logic of leaving. Your brain is designed to protect what you got, not to pursue what you could have. That's why most people never actually take risks to build wealth. There ain't nothing wrong with you if you feel like, "What if I lose?" You're just a human. We're all wired this way. And if it's possible for one person, it's possible for others too. Here's how to break the cycle. Reframe every loss as tuition. If you lost on a business venture, abundance says you paid for an education that's going to make you millions. When you change that frame for yourself, the loss stops controlling you. Consider this. There could be a significant difference in valuation between what two people believe something is worth. Deciding to agree with one person could lead to a lesson learned. Think of it as paying for that lesson, and sometimes it's worth it. The sixth limiting belief might be the most important one to break. It's called the time trap. People spend their entire lives trying to save money, and that's what keeps them from making money. Money multiplies, but time don't multiply. You want to save time instead of saving money. If you make $100 an hour, doing anything worth less than $100 an hour is costing you money. If you spend 2 hours cleaning your house instead of hiring someone for $50, you didn't save $50. You lost $150. That's 2 hours at $100 minus the $50 you didn't pay. Wealthy people understand this. They buy time, they hire assistants, meal prep services, and housekeepers, not because they're lazy, but because their time is worth more and they put it elsewhere. Poor and middle class people sell time, trading hours for dollars and doing everything themselves to save money. Then they wonder why they ain't getting ahead. This can be applied even when starting with limited resources. Hiring an assistant early on, even with a small team, can provide time to focus on tasks that generate more income. It's a strategic decision to gain time and leverage resources effectively. When you start filtering everything through, does this buy me time or cost me time? Everything can change. Stop doing low value tasks, hire help, automate things, and focus on work that is worth more. Here's how to calculate your hourly rate. Take how much money you make in a year and divide it by 2,000 work hours. That's it. Know exactly how much you make per hour and use that to evaluate tasks. Before doing anything, ask, is this worth my hourly rate for me to do this if it's going to take an hour? This creates a wealth acceleration loop. You make more money in less time, reinvest that into more leverage. That leverage takes less time and creates more money, and that's how you get free. Calculate your hourly rate right now, then audit your time and ask, how many things am I doing that ain't worth this? It's beneficial when employees identify tasks that ain't worth their pay. If someone shows how much time they're spending on low-value tasks, consider hiring help to free up their time for higher value work. Here's what you need to do. Pick just one of the shifts from this video, the one where you think you're going to get the most gains, and start practicing it this week.